Covering news where you live. This is 5 News.
Thanks for joining us on 5 News. For the latest news and weather where you live, I'm Tiffany Lee. We learned that Sarah Huckabee Sanders, picked to lead Education Secretary, has been announced. She announced Jacob Olivia will be her nominee for the position. He served as a chancellor at the Florida Department of Education and says that his goals will be to empower parents and prepare students for the workforce.
I think parents have a right to know what their children are being taught, which textbooks are being used, and what they have access to in the school libraries. And it's up to school districts to share that information and be transparent.
During his time as education chancellor in Florida, Olivia was at the center of intense debates over the Sunshine State's new parental laws that are age-appropriate teaching. Meanwhile, Huckabee Sanders is set to be sworn in as the state's 47th governor in less than 2 weeks. Her inauguration is 1 week from Tuesday on January 10th. During the historic event, Sanders will become the state's first female governor. She's taking over for current governor Asa Hutchinson, who is term limited. And now let's check in with meteorologist Zach Scott with a look at your forecast. Hey, Zach.
Hey, Tiffany, we've got a mix of sun and clouds out there for our Friday. Temperatures a little bit on the cooler side. We topped out in the 70s on Thursday. Today, cold front came through early in the morning hours, and that ushered in a cooler air mass, but an air mass that's still about 10 degrees above average for this time of year. So we're cooler. We're, again, still above average. We are going to get warmer quickly again going into the weekend. We have a warm front that's going to lift north, and that's going to usher in strong southerly flow that's going to allow temperatures to jump back up closer to 15 to 20 degrees above average where we're supposed to be this time of year. Okay, so as we go overnight into Saturday morning, we'll be cool. We only got down into the 40s for most of the area. For your Friday morning, we'll see a little bit more 30s mixing in. Northwest Arkansas, more of those lower 40s across the River Valley into the Ouachitas. Weak disturbance passing by. Not a lot of moisture to work with here. A lot of dry airs come in behind the cold front Friday morning, but maybe just enough overnight. Could get a little sprinkle, maybe some patchy drizzle. Our southeastern zones. That'll be Friday night into Saturday morning. Saturday 60s, mix of sun and clouds, light winds again. Yeah, good news is that with today being cooler, at least the winds are lighter, so it's not too bad outside, but jacket weather. We'll warm up as we go through the weekend. 60s and 70s coming back into play. We will be a little breezy with south winds picking up a little bit more Sunday, ushering in some of that warmer air. Saturday evening, New Year's evening, temperatures for this time of year not looking bad whatsoever. We'll be dropping through the 50s again after hitting the likely upper 60s in parts of northwest Arkansas. We'll cool through the 50s by late evening, early overnight, upper 40s, low 50s. Again, dry with a little bit of a south breeze. River Valley will be a touch warmer, dropping through those 50s, looking at low 50s for those that'll be out and about bringing in the new year. Jumping ahead to Monday real quick, want to show you this. We are going to be tracking a chance for some scattered showers and some thunderstorms. We'll be watching it. Best chance for severe weather will likely right now maybe be a little bit better to the southeast of us. But as we go through the day and into the afternoon hours, we'll have the chance for some showers, some rumbles of thunder, and some heavy rainfall. Again, we'll be watching that potential for a few strong storms to mix in. Tiffany?
All right, thanks for that, Zach. So fireworks are a tradition around the world to ring in the new year, but it's not legal everywhere, and it could be dangerous depending on where you live. 5 News reporter Catherine Gilker explains more.
While it may sound like fun to shoot off fireworks to ring in the new year, it's not allowed in most cities across our area. Bentonville, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Rogers, and Springdale do not allow residents to shoot off fireworks this time of year within city limits. Springdale Fire Captain Justin Pinkley says shooting off fireworks with our current weather conditions could be dangerous.
Winter is always our biggest month or biggest season for fires to be taking place, just with how dry the atmosphere is. The wind, everything's dry, everything's dormant, dead grass, and just the right mixture of everything can lead to something catastrophic.
If you live in a rural area out in the county, you can shoot off fireworks anytime you want, except during burn bans. People living in Centerton are also allowed to shoot off fireworks between 8 a.m. on December 31st until 12:30 a.m. on January 1st. Although it's not as busy as the 4th of July, many fireworks stands in the area are making a lot of sales ahead of 2023.
We decided to start selling at Christmas time back when COVID hit, and did really good, so we've been selling ever since. We've been out here for going on 3 weeks and just selling a bunch.
State law allows fireworks sales twice a year, from June 20th through July 10th, and then December 10th through January 5th. State law allows fireworks sales twice a year, from June 20th through July 10th, and December 10th through January 5th.
A lot of passerbys from Oklahoma and the people in the cities that love fireworks, they're gonna buy them and enjoy them anyways. Whether the cities have their rules, their stipulations, we're still gonna sell them and have a great time.
Covering news where you live, Catherine Gilker, 5 News.
Thanks for that, Catherine. So with a new year about to begin comes new laws. Ashley Godwin shows us what Arkansans can expect in 2023, including some details on some taxes that will be lower and updates to the state's mobile betting laws.
There are almost 30,000 companies in the state paying that. And that's everything from a small business on the corner all the way up to the largest companies in the state.
Starting January 1st, a corporate tax rate reduction will go into effect. Businesses will go from having to pay 5.9% to 5.3% of the top corporate income tax rate. That's an average annual savings of more than $13,000.
It's obviously more money to the bottom line for these companies. And I think more importantly, it makes Arkansas more competitive with our surrounding states.
Arkansans will also see a decrease on state income taxes. The rate change was passed this year and shows up on next year's tax returns. This year, that income tax was decreased to 4.9%. It's expected that after the 2023 tax returns, Arkansans will save more than $295 million.
Since it's been in place, it's the lowest it's ever been since we've had an income tax rate in place in the state.
And for the first time, Arkansans will have mobile betting for the Super Bowl and March Madness. The state expects these events to bring in some of the biggest numbers we've ever seen.
We should know pretty quickly what those numbers look like.
In Little Rock, Ashley Godwin, 5 News.
Now let's get you caught up on the biggest stories that you might have missed this week. Teaching kids the importance of fire safety is a big part of growing up. Well, for one Clarksville dog, that message was her life. 5 News reporter Ian Taylor shares the heartwarming story of Molly, the fire safety dog, whose service recently came to an end.
From throwing out the first pitch at Arvest Ballpark to teaching children around the world about fire safety, Molly, the fire safety dog, was right at home in front of a crowd.
Molly's work started when she was actually 9 weeks old.
For 10 years, Molly and her handler and best friend, Dana Hilton, shared their love of fire safety with kids and adults. Molly even having a role and acting as ambassador for the film Superpowered Dogs. But Tuesday, Dana hung up Molly's collar for the last time as she crossed over the Rainbow Bridge.
I really miss her. It was challenging coming out here and not having her by my side.
Molly called Clarksville home, but had been all around the world thanks to the power of Skype. Recently, she taught a virtual fire safety program to students in Wyoming and was just 2 weeks shy of completing a program in Idaho to cross off all 50 states. But picking up the torch for Molly,
Her little brother Bowden, who is 7, is going to be helping me do the 50th virtual fire safety program, helping carry on that tradition of the fire safety dogs and helping keep all those kids safe.
Molly's career of teaching fire safety almost came to an end in 2018. She was diagnosed with copper storage disease, causing cirrhosis of her liver. But she continued to work and enjoy life as a dog for 4 more years.
Molly is the last in line of a long string of fire safety dogs.
Dana says even after Molly's passing, her memory and lessons will continue to be
In the hearts and minds of children everywhere.
Covering news where you live, Ian Taylor, 5 News.
Thanks, Ian. So the Washington County jail search for a new medical provider is officially over. Dr. Rob Karras, the jail's current doctor, has been given a new contract for 2023. You may remember that we told you earlier this month about Karras pulling out of his current contract with the jail, which according to the sheriff-elect was because of increased cost of malpractice insurance. We learned that Karras Healthcare won the upcoming year's contract over 2 other providers who applied. The bid by Karras was nearly $1 million higher than this year's contract, but $132,000 lower than the second lowest bid. The news comes after the jail came under fire during the pandemic when Karras prescribed the controversial drug ivermectin to inmates with COVID-19. You can find more on the history of this story and follow any developments on our website, 5newsonline.com. And the number of kids in foster care in Arkansas has exceeded the number of homes available for several years. One private placement agency knows all of this too well. As Frederick Price shows us, building a new home could be part of the solution.
Randall and Angela Robinson want to become parents, but that journey hasn't been the easiest.
We've been wanting to have kids of our own for a while, and we found out we're unable to have kids of our own.
The next step for the two, become foster parents. A friend introduced them to the Second Chance Youth Ranch, a placement agency for children in foster care.
Hey, they're looking for foster parents, and they knew we would kind of be interested in that.
Thursday, the organization opened this brand new foster home in Benton, which will fit a sibling group of up to 6 children in the system. Rachel Hubbard tells me she often has to turn away foster children because the agency is filled to capacity, an issue still impacting the state. And Arkansas DHS says there are less than 1,700 foster homes in Arkansas. The number of foster children, more than 4,200.
We decided we're tired of saying no. We want to be a part of ending the crisis.
This new home, she says, part of a solution to make sure Arkansans in foster care not only have a home, but aren't separated.
Most regular homes out in the community, regular families, don't have the space for 5 or 6 children to come into their home and live together.
Hence why so many siblings are split up when entering the foster system. Building, furnishing, and allowing parents to move in and foster a big sibling group is their mission. The Robinsons, grateful for this opportunity, are calling on more people to help.
If we could get more foster parents to help end the crisis, that would be fantastic.
We had a chance to speak with Scott Harden about Arkansas's economy heading into 2023. He says that with Arkansas seeing record revenue the first 2 years of the pandemic, they're expecting the 2023 fiscal year's budget surplus is on pace to be even higher. The 2022 fiscal year, which ended in June of 2022, saw Arkansas surpass the previous year's record with a $1.6 billion revenue surplus. And with COVID, flu, and RSV surging, we've been hearing from local parents saying that they've had to go to the pharmacy and another pharmacy before they could ever find over-the-counter medicine for their sick kids. Children's Tylenol and ibuprofen sections are almost empty at many local pharmacies, with the medicine back ordered as the demand is outpacing supply. Pharmacists suggest calling ahead to check inventory, and while not being able to provide immediate relief to little ones is frustrating, they say it's important to fight any temptation to use expired medication that you might find in your home. Meanwhile, the government is releasing reserves of Tamiflu as cases of COVID, flu, and RSV are continuing to rise. CVS, Target, and Walgreens are now restricting purchases of over-the-counter children's medicine amid reports of widespread shortages. Medical marijuana regulators in Arkansas say that they expect the industry to set a new sales record this year. Ashley Godwin has more on the revenue that those sales are bringing to the state and what roadblocks the Medical Marijuana Commission says that it hopes to figure out in the year ahead.
So we saw these really significant sales spikes, and I didn't necessarily think that 2022 would exceed that.
Last year, Arkansas saw record numbers for medical marijuana. Sales increased, especially after pandemic checks were issued.
So as the stimulus funding would hit the state, you'd see sales spike.
After a slow start to 2022, March saw $24 million of purchases, setting the tone for a steady year of record sales.
And that's a little bit surprising.
Overall, this year, Arkansas is expected to hit a record $275 million in sales. That's $10 million more than last year. Each month, Arkansans spent between $20 to $24 million on marijuana, and the state saw $30 million of that in taxes.
And it's going to be interesting as we enter 2023 to see if if that's just how the industry works.
While the medical marijuana program was passed in 2016 by voters, the first dispensary didn't open until 2019, and the program has yet to be completed, with 2 licenses being held up in court.
Right now, it's not possible. If something changes in the litigation, they could.
Just last week, the Arkansas Supreme Court sent the case back to civil courts. Until a ruling is made, the Medical Marijuana Commission cannot hand out the last of the licenses.
They've made it clear that they want to issue those last 2 licenses. They took a vote and said, we want to get these out the door. So it's just a matter of having the authority to do it.
Ashley Godwin, 5 News.
Thank you for joining us for the latest news and weather where you live. I'm Tiffany Lee. Have a happy new year.